Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to today's explainer. We're going to unlock the absolute foundation of programming in Java. Seriously, if you've ever stared at a screen full of code and thought, how on earth does the computer actually keep track of all this stuff? Well, you are in the right place. Today, we're taking all the mystery out of variables and data types. We'll break it down step by step, make it highly visual, and honestly, make it super easy to grasp.
I really want to give a massive shout out to our excellent source material today, coming straight from the awesome educators over at PDCODINGHUB. We're going to thoroughly explain everything you need to know about Java variables based on their comprehensive guide. And hey, we're going to take our time with this. Even if it takes a bit to get through, by the end of this explainer, you are going to have a rock-solid understanding of these core concepts. I guarantee it. So here's our quick roadmap for the day. First, we'll meet your Java containers. Second, we'll look at the 6 essential data types. Third, we'll actually write your first program. And fourth, we'll cover how to avoid those common rookie mistakes. All right, section 1. Meet your Java containers and storing data in memory. Now, when you hear the phrase storing data in memory, it sounds, incredibly abstract and technical, right? But to be a great programmer, you just need to frame this as something physical and tangible. So whenever you hear the word variable, I want you to immediately picture a container. Just think of it like a simple cardboard box. Just like you use boxes in the real world to store your shoes or your documents, a variable is just a digital box that stores data in your computer's memory. You literally just pop things in there, like a person's age, their name, or their salary, and then you grab that info whenever you need it. Creating one of these boxes in Java just takes 3 simple steps, and they always go in this exact order. Check out the example we have here, int age equals 25. So step 1 is the data type. Here, int tells Java exactly what kind of box to build. Step 2 is the variable name. We're basically slapping a label on that box, and here we've written age on the label. And step 3 is assigning the value. We take the actual number, 25, and drop it right inside that box. Data type, name, value. It is really that simple. Moving right along to section 2. The 6 essential data types, and why one box definitely doesn't fit all. We know what a variable is now, but think about this for a second. Why exactly do we need different data types? Like, why can't we just have one giant universal box called data and toss our numbers, our text, and our decimals all into the exact same container? Well, the answer really boils down to pure efficiency. Different kinds of data just require different memory sizes in Java. Think about it. A tiny little whole number takes up a totally different amount of space than a massive decimal value or a whole paragraph of text. Java needs to know exactly what kind of data you're storing so it can reserve the perfect amount of memory. No more, no less. This is what keeps your programs running lightning fast.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that it serves as your ultimate cheat sheet for the 6 essential data types. Let's break these down quickly. For whole numbers, you're going to use int. For standard decimal numbers, you use float. But hey, notice the example there? You've got to put a little f at the end of the number, like 99.5f. For really large decimals, you step it up to a double. Now, if you just need a single letter or character, use char. And notice the single quotes around the a. For true or false questions, you use boolean. And finally, for actual text or words, you use string, and that requires double quotes. Getting these basic rules down is absolutely crucial to mastering Java.
Section 3, writing your first program. Let's move to and see how this builds, putting it all together in practice. Okay, take a look at this code. This brilliantly shows what a real setup looks like. We are inside a public class called variables_demo. Look at how beautifully structured this is. We've lined up our containers perfectly. We have an int holding an age of 24. We have a float for a height of 5.8. And yep, don't forget that little f. We've got a char for the grade A, tucked neatly inside single quotes, a boolean holding the value true to show this person is placed in a job, and finally, a string storing the name Pawan, right there in double quotes. The computer's memory is now perfectly organized with these 5 labeled boxes. But, just storing the data is only half the battle, right? We need to get it back out to actually show the user. So, to open those boxes up and print the contents to the screen, we use the system.out.println command. By putting the word name in quotes and then adding a plus sign, we're essentially telling Java, hey, print the word name, and then immediately grab whatever is sitting inside the box labeled name and print that too. And then we just repeat that exact same process for the age, the height, the grade, and the placement status.
And here is the payoff. When we actually run the program, the computer zips into memory, grabs the values right out of our containers, and displays exactly what we asked for. Name, Pawan. Age, 24. Height, 5.8. Grade, A. Placed, true. You've just successfully instructed the computer to allocate memory, store specific types of data, and retrieve it perfectly. Honestly, that is a massive milestone.
Okay, last but not least, section 4, avoiding common rookie mistakes to keep your code clean. Before we wrap things up today, we really need to talk troubleshooting. Listen, every single programmer encounters bugs when they're first learning this. It's totally normal. So if your code isn't running, just run through this mental checklist immediately. First, did you miss a semicolon? In Java, a semicolon is literally like the period at the end of a sentence. If you forget it, Java has no idea the instruction is over. Second, check those quotes. Remember, char strictly uses single quotes, while string uses double quotes. Mixing those up, that's a guaranteed error. Third, did you forget the f at the end of your float value? Java gets super confused about the decimal size if you leave that out. And finally, double-check your variable names. Just make sure you aren't using spaces or starting them with numbers. But hey, don't sweat it if you make these mistakes. It's practically a rite of passage for every new Java developer.
And that brings us to the end of our foundational look at variables. I want to leave you with a great question straight from our sources at PDCODINGHUB. Which data type did you understand best today? Was it the straightforward simplicity of the int? Or maybe the text handling of the string? Think about how you might actually use these containers in your own upcoming projects. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Get really comfortable with these data types, because next time we're leveling up and diving into operators in Java, where we'll learn how to make all these variables actually interact with each other. Until then, keep practicing.